Hi, hello, and welcome. This is gonna be that one episode where she, who is her, got reincarnated as a VTuber just to do one singular video, a singular video, to defeat the Demon King and talking about light novels, because what else would I talk about on this beautiful channel, on this beautiful day, on this beautiful 35-degree hot as F weather degree than talk about light novels? Listen up here.
Yeah!
Are you listening? Do I need to play the Minions clip to get your attention again?
Not at all.
Are you back now? Are you back now? Are you... Not yet? So, was it enough Minions for you? Welcome back! Okay, so... I want to talk about light novels. What light novels I like, and more importantly, how I even got into light novels, because in many corners of this world, I feel like light novels, and I have the books right in front of me here to distract me while I'm yapping, they are like still somewhat obscure, you might say, somewhat niche, right? But if you dive into the anime scene longer and more profusely, I'm using big words to seem smart right now, you will learn at some point, figure out, essentially, that many of the stories that you love not only come from manga, but from light novels as well, and that some manga even spawned from light novels previously, you know, and maybe it even was like a web novel before that, okay? So I'm gonna say, the first anime I've ever seen that was from a light novel probably was Sword Art Online, as I think it would be for many people. But unbeknownst to me, I didn't know it was a novel for like the longest time, okay? The first novel I bought, the first light novel I bought after I watched the anime, was Monogatari, because I love it, okay? This is still, you have to remember, this is like the early 2010s, so 2012, 13, 14, somewhere around that time. I'm not entirely sure when Monogatari was airing. And by that point, they only had like 3 or maybe 4 translated volumes from the Monogatari series in English, like at all, right? Like nowadays, they have all of them, and I think they finished somewhere in 2022 to have all of them listed in English, translated. And I of course, I own all of them, okay? So I bought the Monogatari ones. I have the book right here. It's a beautiful book, okay? It's from Verizon? I think it's like from Verizon Publishing House. Sorry, not Verizon. I think that's an internet company in like America. From Vertical, you know? So I have the first book. Then I have like the box set for the first set and the box set for the second set. And by the third set, I couldn't even bother to buy the box set. So I just have like the books by themselves. Actually, no, the other way around. I have the box set for the first and the second. But I only have the 5 singular books for the first like season, right? Because for every single season of Monogatari, it doesn't matter, okay? So this was basically the first time I've seen a story in an anime and decided, man, that's so amazing, I want more! But there was not more, and there was no manga to like read, okay? So there was only books. It's scary when there's only books, okay? So I decided to grab Monogatari, the book series, and I read them, and they are, dude, what they did with the anime is actually quite impressive, right? Because this story, for 98% of the time, it's people talking with each other, one-on-one conversations. Sometimes there's a little more people, sometimes there are action scenes, but like for 98% of the time, it's one person yapping the hell out of another person. And somehow they still made the anime very interesting to watch with like all the extra scenes they did and all the text on the screen. And yes, if you watch it like as an English speaker, you don't get as much out of it as if you could speak and read Japanese, because they have like so many like words on the screen where you only have like a second to read them, and if you wanted to read the translation, you would actually have to pause and read all of them. But in like the book, that's not a problem, right? Nobody's playing the book for you unless you're listening to the audiobook, you're reading it, right? So you get like all the information is in here. I'm like confusing my ASMR channel with this right now, you know? I'm tapping on the books, you know, I like book tapping. And my god, this book is insane. Monogatari Monster Tale Part 1 from Nishio Ishin. Unbeknownst to me, I've read a Nishio Ishin book like a few weeks, months, maybe even a year or two, maybe even a lot of years prior to this one, because there was a novelized side story to Death Note, right? There was a novel about Death Note before the actual story of the anime, where a Death Note was in another human's hands, but it was still with like it's an uncanon side story, right? Because it has L and stuff like that as well, right? But it's a very interesting read, and that one was written by Nisio Isin as well. Amazing stuff, okay? Anyhow, I read those, amazing, right? Then at some point I decided, okay, now that we get more and more light novels translated into English, I kind of want to get more into it. So as you do, as a beautiful good bean does on the internet, you go out on the internet, you look at forums, you look at Reddit, maybe at like my anime list, and look what light novels are highly rated, you know? And then I found my favorite light novel ever. It's also like on the list of light novels. I think it's in the like top 20, maybe even the top 10. I'm gonna put it on screen right here. If you go to my anime list, they have like not only anime, they have manga and light novels as well. And there we have The Empty Box and Zero of Maria. Before I talk about the book, before I talk about anything about the book, if you want absolutely no spoilers and just a good recommendation, read the book. Doesn't matter where, if you read it online, if you like buy it. Although I think the print version is pretty hard to get nowadays. That's what I've like read, that it's maybe they did a reprinting, right? But at some point, like each volume would go for like $60 or higher because like they didn't print it anymore. Luckily enough, I somehow bought the whole series before that was a problem, so I have all of them now. So even though I'm raving about this book series, I've only read the first 2 books out of like 6 or 7. I need to read the others as well. But the amazing thing is that technically every single book is like a story in its own, but it is continuing. So you don't lose anything if you want to stop like after a single book. So in the first volume of The Empty Box and Zero of Maria, we have like a guy, and at some point he's like realizing that he's kind of like in Groundhog Day, repeating days over and over and over and over again, and right? And then at some point, there's a girl called Maria, as the title would suggest. She's also on the cover. She's pretty hot, honestly. She looks pretty cool, honestly. And they then need to figure out why that is happening, and that is like the whole point of the first book. And it's beautifully written as well, where the book kind of plays like a thing where the book really plays with the medium of a book, right? And it would be very hard to do like an anime format because you have like moments later in the book where you suddenly question yourself if what you read earlier was correct or what exactly you did read. So you can go back a few pages to like check. It's beautiful done. If you want to read any light novel at all, just a single book, read The Empty Box of Zero of Maria, number 1. Okay, then let's go back many, many years. This is not the original version. What I have right here is Slayer's Collector's Edition, which I think I have all of them now. Number 1, Slayer. Doesn't matter if you want the Slayer anime, the Slayer light novel. Sorry, there's a hair on my microphone. Or the Slayer manga. All of them amazing. Lena's story is great. But apparently I didn't even know that it was a light novel. I knew of the manga, I knew of the TV show, and the TV show / anime was actually one of the first anime ever. My mother brought me home from the library to check them out. And then I saw at some point at like a local bookstore that they did like a reprinting of the old light novels from Slayers. In like a collector's edition. It's hardcover, it has nice full color pictures, nice big quality pages, and it's like 3 of the light novels in each book. So each of those books is pretty thick. Like this one has like, how many pages are in here? Around 400 pages. And yes, 400 pages doesn't seem that lot, right? But like typically light novels do not have that many pages themselves, right? Most of them have like 170, 180. We don't talk about like thicker light novels. Of course, there are like thicker light novels like Overlord. Is it called Overlord? I think it's called Overlord, right? And then Tanya. And of course, we don't count them, okay? They have transcended the word light novel. Anyhow, do you know why they are called light novels? This might be 100% false and I'm embarrassing myself, but as far as I know, they are called light novels because in Japan, they only like learn to read like all of the alphabets they have. So the kanji, the katakana, and the hiragana, etc., etc. By the time they're like good in their 20s, like mid-20s. That's what I learned when I tried to learn Japanese, right? Where if you wanted to read like the actual newspapers, they would use like all the alphabets together. That's very hard until you like learn everything. And the light novels would like focus on easier to understand languages and might have only used like one alphabet. Again, 100% might be wrong, but that's my assumption, okay? That's where the word came from. And of course, like if you would translate light novels into English, it would be like novellas. Not really, but like kinda, you know. Anyhow, Slayers. And then the last one I want to talk about is a light novel I only recently got into, and that is The Ascendance of a Bookworm. And I really like this one because it's about a character who loves books just like me, but more so, this is a slow burn. This is the slowest of slow burns you will ever read or watch if you watch the anime. It follows the main character, right? The tiny girl who gets isekai'd into a world. We're going to talk about isekai in a second. And you basically see her grow up from when she's like 4 or 5 years old all the way to her teens and later young adulthood. But all of this is like over 20 books, okay? So you really get immersed into this world, into this story. It's insane, okay? Ascendance of a Bookworm. It's amazing. Go watch like the anime and then decide if you want to read the books, because I think the anime is a very good adaptation. I liked it a lot. Okay, let's talk about isekai, okay? I don't know. I'm an isekai trash panda. I'm gonna leave that right here, okay? I am a freaking isekai trash panda. I don't know what it is about isekais. Maybe it's because they are mostly gaming related. Maybe it's because it's easy to understand to have like the same system over and over and over again. Maybe it's because they are mostly fantasy based, and I love fantasy based stories, okay? But I love isekai. It doesn't matter if I'm a wolf buff house and girls bathe in me isekai, or a vending machine isekai, or Sword Art Online, or Overlord, or any isekai. I will literally read and watch and listen to every single isekai because I love isekais, and apparently many people do, because from all the light novels that exist, and believe me, there are hundreds and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, somehow they decide to grab like all of the isekai ones and make them into anime. Yeah, that was deep dive with Shyaren into light novels. Oh, goodbye.